Hey guys, I think what people value is really interesting. The fact that that can differ so much. Like this person over here values tradition and family and honesty, and this person over here values sex and drugs and more sex and drugs. I just think it's wild how we're all here on the same planet, and yet the things that are important to us are so different. Something that's really interesting to me is finding out what matters to people. I think it's really indicative of who they are, and it's just, I guess, selfishly, it's intriguing for me to know what matters to a person. So a few weeks ago, I prompted you guys on my website and on my Facebook to tell me what you value and why. And here's a little bit of what I found out. So the value that came up the most was honesty/truth. Turns out it's very important to you guys. I was really excited about this because honesty matters a lot to me. Nobody likes a liar. I consider myself to be on like a pursuit of truth. I don't like phoniness. I don't like anything that feels fake or that feels like contrived. That just feels gross to me. So the fact that you guys value and prioritize honesty and truth was very exciting for me. We could all be friends. I'm going to show a few of the values that were particularly interesting to me and then read the whys behind the whats. So Eric from Germany values reliability. He says, when you tell me you're going to be somewhere at 10 p.m., I expect you to be there, or at least tell me you're not going to make it. I really don't like people who are making promises they can't keep. Eric. Reliability is an interesting value to me because it's not one of mine. I think I just am constantly aware of how much things change and people change. So I've tried to maintain like this kind of coolness with that. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if that comes from me having a really unreliable life or something. I don't know. But I think it's really cool that that's something that he values and that he knows that about himself and that he wants that stability. However, we would not get along because we're so different. Frank Koch, also in Germany. Shout out Germany. Frank Koch, also in Germany, values creativity. He says, to be or not to be creative, it is not a question of decision. It is mostly a matter of luck. But when I have this lucky stroke, I'm the happiest man on earth. It sounds like Frank is saying that creativity is kind of like a lucky instance. I mean, I definitely think creativity can be prompted or nudged and invited in a little bit more easily. It doesn't have to I don't think it has to necessarily just be a thing that's like a lucky strike of creativity. But I too value creativity. I think that if everybody were like 10%, even 10% more creative, the world would be a lot happier. Gabriella. Cutie. The value I like that Gabriella lists is ambition. She says, second, I'm a very ambitious person. I've recently started studying biology at college, and that's something I've been passionate about since I was a little child. Every day that I learn something new makes me even more excited about the fact that I could do something to help the world we live in. I've always been a very careful person when it comes to our planet's condition, and being a biologist will open so many doors for me. I hope that someday in the future, I'll be able to help people and our planet so that we can live a healthier and balanced life. Gabriella! I love that. Like, she's a person that she makes me excited about the future, and I feel like I want to follow her career as a biologist and just see her thrive and succeed and flourish. I really admire ambitious people, especially people who, like Gabriella, are so focused on what they want and the ways that they can improve the world and add things to other people's lives. I think that's so inspiring and so helpful, and it just makes me feel all kinds of good inside. So, Gabriella, I value you, and I'm glad that you value ambition. I love this value from Jana Larkin in the United States. Not only do I love the value, but I also love that pose. Jana, you're killing it. Open-mindedness. Jana says, I believe that we need to stop placing such a negative stigma on mental health illness. There is no shame in being ill and seeking help. We need to stop judging others by their past because as humans, we're constantly changing. Overall, we need to be more considerate of one another and do everything possible to help each other. Even if it's just a smile, we should pass that on. You never know what someone is experiencing or how our actions affect them. I like the specific reasons Jana listed for her open-mindedness. It seems like it really works for her life. I think open-mindedness is just a great thing for everyone. I know when I get really stubborn and closed-minded, my world just kind of sucks up and becomes much more, just much smaller and much less fun, and I feel less creative, and I feel like I'm not as able to enjoy things or see the possibilities. So I think open-mindedness is just great for everyone. So long as it's not the kind of open-mindedness where it's like you could just go with the wind and like get taken over by the sea of opinions, because then I think that's less open-mindedness as it is whatever-mindedness, I guess. I know I mentioned honesty and truth and how that came up a lot, but how this person worded it specifically I think was interesting. This is from Jean Rodrigo in Brazil, who is evidently a model of sorts or something, because that picture's great. He says, truth is what represents me because she is who traces my steps for progress. I'm always real with everything and everyone because I learned that we should do for who's next what we want to ourselves. That keeps my conscience clean to sleep. I like that way of putting it a lot. I'm a big believer in that. I think if you're true with yourself and you're true with others, it's going to feel a lot better when you hit the pillow that night because you're not going to be living with guilt and regret. I just have to show how, I hope I'm saying his name right, Joao Victor's face, just because this picture's great. You guys sent some brilliant photos. You guys were like professionally photographed for these images. I love it. Konstantin from Russia. He said, I appreciate the moment in which I live because that's all I have. I like every moment, even if it's not the most interesting. Wow, that's great, and that's something I wish I was better at. I am often caught in like, well, what am I doing next? Like, what's the future? Or like I can definitely get stuck in the past as well and be just caught in either of those. So living in the present is an ongoing challenge for me and something I have to work at. So it's really cool that he values that, and seems like he's got a pretty, if his paragraph is any indication, seems like he's got a good sense of it. Cut to him like freaking out about the future and the past. Gabriele, 16 years old, from Brazil. Values determination. I love that one. I think if you have a good heaping spoonful of determination, you're set. Like, I think that's such a helpful thing for life in general, because if you're determined, you generally probably know what you want, and then you can just channel all that determination toward that thing that you want, and you can get it to some degree, to some effect, in one way or another. And you're going to probably stay more positive because of that determination. You're probably going to have a good filter on the things that are good for you and that might not be so good for you because you're determined toward the things that you want out of life. I see nothing but good things in determination. So go Gabriele. She should have valued peace because she's given a peace sign. Christian Loep values happiness, and he says, we talk so much about possessions in life and probably don't emphasize just being happy as a person. Do what makes you happy. You control your life. I love that. I think valuing happiness is awesome. I think that's a really difficult value, because I think sometimes the pursuit of happiness can be an endless pursuit. Like, I think at some point, I get that people say you have to make up your mind to be happy, but it's like, well, it's not necessarily a switch, but then if you're always pursuing it, then you're not really just being it. So I think happiness is such a convoluted subject. I love this value. Adriana, 18 years old, Italy, thinking with my own mind. Ugh, makes me so happy. This may be a consequence of loving myself, but thinking with my brain instead of always imitating other people's thoughts is what I always look for. I take what I like, I embrace what everyone thinks, but at the end of the day, I love to see that I re-elaborate what I heard. I have my own point of view. Maybe I see the world differently. I use too much imagination, but I'm super proud of it. Again, that's thinking with my own mind. Adriana, 18 years old, Italy. Beauty. I'm so happy that Adriana said that. I think thinking with your own mind and employing your own judgment it has never been more useful than it is in this day and age with the constant surplus of information coming at you. There's never been a better time to really put on your thinking cap and utilize it to the best of its ability so that you don't become a sheep. Patricia in Spain values tenacity and says, I'm a fighter. I hate to give up. I know that life has obstacles, but I know that I have qualities to positively surprise and overcome anything. I think tenacity is great. Kind of reminds me of determination. I'm feeling a strong, magnet toward those words. I think perseverance, determination, tenacity, all those things are your best friends, and it's kind of like they expand upon themselves. So I feel like the more you feed that tenacious side of yourself, the more you feed that perseverance, the stronger they get. So it's kind of like they don't have diminishing returns. They have the opposite of that. Amplified returns, exponentially improving returns. It's just a good thing. We love the people with the determination. keep at it, guys. Okay, guys, so I'm sorry, I don't know who sent this in, but later on in post, once I figure out who sent this in, I'll put that right there. Thank you. Character. Work every day to learn and be the best person you can be. Follow through on what you say and be a person of character. I love that one. That inspires me. I think having character is, I feel like it's underrepresented, or I feel like it's a little undervalued. You don't hear people waltzing around very often being like, I want to be a person of character. But I wish you did, because I think the people that I think of who have really strong character lend a lot of hope, I think, and inspiration to life and to those around them. And they're just joyful, positive people. I heard a quote before that was like, you can tell a person's character by the consistency of their choices. I think that you can really tell a person's character more and more with time, and it's something that either makes you like the person a lot more or a lot less, and hopefully more, because hopefully that person's got good character. Okay, guys, those were a few of my favorite values that came up. I did this video a little bit differently than I expected. I thought I was going to kind of highlight 3 people's values, but I just wanted to take values that were particularly exciting and share them in a kind of bigger, broader sense, because I thought that might be a little more fun for you and be a way to showcase more values than less, which we all want, right? If you sent in your values, thanks so much. I'm really glad that you have them and that you know them. That's awesome. And I hope you stick true to them. Stay true to yourself, guys, and remember your values. Pin them on an index card, put them on a bulletin board, write them on your forehead, do whatever you got to. Remember, you know you best and you know what's best for you. And just keep doing the do. Bye.